Moving from one town to another is a big deal, but moving to a brand new state is a whole new ballgame. Hi, I'm Sarah Maslowski, a local real estate agent here in the Northeast Metro Atlanta area, and as a relocation specialist, I hear comments all the time from people who are moving here from all different corners of the world about how different living in Georgia is from other states here in the U.S. So, what do you need to know about moving to Georgia, and what is it like buying a house here currently? One of the first and biggest things you need to know about moving to Georgia is that it's not as cheap as it once was. Many people are shocked to find out that their money gets them in the state of Georgia. Some can't believe how cheap it is, while others can't believe how expensive it has gotten. Obviously, it's an easier pill to swallow if you're coming from a place like California where your money goes a lot further. For example, we just helped some amazing clients who were selling their condo in San Francisco area of California, purchase a home here. They sold their 1,500 square foot condo and now were able to use those proceeds to buy a nearly 7,000 square foot home here in Georgia for roughly the same price. Now, sometimes buyers will come from other states where the average sales price is lower than ours here in Georgia, so they can be a bit underwhelmed with what their money will get them here in North Georgia. Now, North Georgia is not an area where you're going to find many condos unless you want to live in the city. So being able to buy a 1-bedroom and 1-bath condo for $150,000 as a starter home is not something that you're going to find here, unlike a lot of other kind of suburban areas. At the time of filming this video, the average sales price in the greater Atlanta area is $477,000 and the median sales price is $395,000. Now, obviously this is the top end of a lot of people's budget. Now, that's not to say that you can't find a house here for less than that. In fact, make sure you check out this video to learn more about some of the more affordable areas here in North Georgia. But some people are surprised to see what their money gets them here. Another thing you need to know is that multiple offer situations have not gone away here in the North Metro Atlanta area. Since there is such low inventory of homes right now and there's still a huge influx of people relocating to the area, we are finding that most homes end up in multiple offer situations. That is, if they're priced appropriately and have been well taken care of. Now, we have had a slight lull a couple of months ago where we were able to get contracts accepted with contingent offers without much kickback. But since competition has kind of ramped up again, we are finding that most sellers are receiving multiple offers again, so they don't have to be flexible and accept a home to sell contingency. If you do have a home to sell contingency, meaning that you have to sell your home in order to buy a home here in Georgia, and you won't be able to go through with that purchase unless the sale in your home state is successful, one of our tactics to finding a home that will accept one of these stipulations is to keep our search on homes that have been on the market for at least 2 weeks or more. These sellers are in a bit more of a vulnerable position since they have not had that high demand, so they're more willing to accept a contingency. We do have a few more options up our sleeve to make this process work, such as using a buy before you sell program that has a small convenience fee. But the good news is that you do have options as a buyer that has a home to sell. It's really important that you are working with an agent who knows the tricks of the trade and will present all of these options to you, like me. Something that came up recently with some buyers from Texas while we are looking at new construction home was, when will the builder put up a fence? Apparently, most of the time when you buy a new construction home in some states, the builder puts up a fence for you. Now, I can say with just about certainty that you will not find a builder here in Georgia who will put up a fence for you unless you pay for it, and oftentimes they don't really even offer that as an option, unless you're working with more of a custom builder. Likely, it's never going to be on the upgrades options list, and it's absolutely not going to come standard. If you're going to a more custom route or you're working with a smaller builder, they may offer it and price it out for you and see if you want to pay them to do it, but oftentimes we find that it's cheaper to have a fencing company come in and do it for you after the fact. If you are working with a builder like D.R. Horton or Lennar or any of the other major builders, they are certainly not going to do this. Even with resale homes, you aren't always going to find that people have fences, since a lot of our backyards aren't always perfectly flat that not everyone has a fence. Also, not everyone has pets or kids, therefore they don't really have a need for a fence. So sometimes people can be caught off guard when homes don't have a fence, or they have the expectation that every home will. But the good news is that it's really easy to add a fence after the fact, so that's not something to stop you in your home search. Something else that you need to know about moving to North Georgia is that if you want to be in one of the bigger towns that has tons of shopping and amenities like Alpharetta, Suwanee, or Beaufort, you're most likely going to be looking at homes in neighborhoods, which means paying HOA fees. Now, people will call and say, I want a house on at least 1.5 acres with no neighbors close by, no HOA, and I want to be in Suwanee. And that's going to be extremely hard to come by. The big thing to note, though, is that your HOA fees in many of the neighborhoods here are going to cost the same for the whole year, whereas in Florida, that amount would cover your HOA fees for a month. So typically you're looking at HOA fees that range from $600 a year to $1,500 a year. Depending on what areas you're looking in and at what price point, you can expect HOA fees to range anywhere from $500 a year to several thousands of dollars if you're in a gated community with luxury amenities. Another comment we had coming up a lot lately with buyers who are looking at new construction homes is they still want wooded lots and plenty of privacy. Again, most builders do not operate this way, but it may be possible with small builders. These big companies are going to come in and flatten out the land, and they're going to put in all the homes they can in that neighborhood. So odds are you are most likely not going to have a buffer of trees between you and your neighbor. In fact, you will most likely only have one tree in your yard unless the lot you are interested in backs up to an area of non-disturbance. Most counties' codes here in Georgia require one tree to be on each lot, so often builders will just plant that one tree and call it a day. Many times people will say that they don't want to have an HOA, so we will look at homes that aren't in a neighborhood, and then they'll complain about the neighbors having junk in their yard. It's hard not to chuckle because that's the whole point of having an HOA, is to avoid getting in scenarios where the neighbor's house looks like junk, so you can't very well complain about it while being anti-HOA. Another thing we have heard recently from clients is about how different in Georgia it is from where they come from, having to do with their utilities. Someone recently pointed out that they were surprised that their garbage fees were not paid for with their taxes. There are some towns that your taxes will cover garbage collection, but it is certainly not the norm here in Georgia. Many times there will be a few different trash services that will work in a particular area, and you pay them a quarterly fee or monthly. You can also elect not to pay them at all for the service, and you can take your trash to a local trash compactor for free, and that is covered by your property tax. So you may be asking yourself, how much does it cost for these trash services? Well, the good news is it's only $25 a month, and I don't know about you, but paying $25 is well worth my time and not having to deal with taking stinky trash to the dump and dumping it yourself. So there is not a set way of handling trash here. Everyone does things slightly different. And speaking of utilities, gas is deregulated in Georgia, meaning that there is not like one service provider for gas services. So the good news is that you can shop around and find the cheapest company that services you. Also, gas is not super common here. In fact, only about 50% of homes use gas for heating and dryers and cooking, maybe even less than 50%, maybe more like 30, 40%. And having a gas cooktop is really important to a lot of people, but again, not every house is going to have it. And this isn't super specific to one area or the next. So it's not like we can recommend that you only look in this certain area. I have seen it more common in higher price points to have things like gas, so that may be something that you should take into consideration. If a house has gas heating and it's piped for gas, it is possible to have those pipes ran to the kitchen so that you can have a gas stove. When it comes to heat, many homes are heated by electricity, but if your home is heated by gas, another thing that you're going to want to think about is that you're likely only need your heat for a few months out of the year. So a lot of gas companies will have seasonal programs, so you don't have to pay for your gas all year round if you don't have any other gas appliances. Now, as far as appliances goes, washer and dryers and refrigerators are often not left in resale homes. So many times you're going to have to buy buy new appliances or bring them from the house that you're coming from. Now, this all depends on the seller, but it's standard for them to not be left. So for example, your stove and your dishwasher, range, oven, like that's going to be left behind. But what is often negotiable is your refrigerator. So most of the times you'll find that the seller will not be leaving the refrigerator. They're taking it with them. What they're doing with it, I don't know. But you would think the next house they're going to would have a refrigerator. But one thing that's for certain is it is incredibly rare to see the seller leave their washer and dryer. And I've learned recently from great clients like you that this is not the norm across the country. That like in Florida, for example, it's normal for all the sellers to leave their washer and dryers. That's just not the case here in Georgia. So make sure you factor that in. And you might be asking yourself, how do we know if the seller is going to be leaving those appliances? Well, we can tell if they're going to be left in the home by checking the seller's property disclosure for the house. That is a document that the sellers have to fill out, several pages worth of questions about the house, and on it they mark off everything that is staying with the house and which appliances they are leaving. Now, these can also be negotiated into the contract, and sometimes sellers will sell them to the buyers of the home if the appliances are newer. And sometimes the sellers will have these be kind of negotiable, or they'll be willing to sell them to the buyers of the new home. So what do you think? Would you consider making a move to Georgia? I would love to help you. If so, you can find my contact information directly below this video. And also make sure you check out this video for more information about moving to Georgia.